HCAM TV thanks you for watching this presentation. We'd love for you to become a member and use your creativity at our station. Please visit hinghammedia.org or call us at 781-836-5094 if you would like to learn more.
Hingham, a town of great history, heritage, and heart. Coming up on today's episode of Hingham Happenings. Restaurants and businesses take over the downtown area to give you a taste of Hingham. The South Shore Conservatory says goodbye to their seniors during their senior graduation recital. Rockland Trust hosts their 4th annual Rock Fit 5K Run Walk to benefit police dogs. The community is invited to discover Wampatuck State Park during its 1st annual Discovery Day. An exciting reenactment of Battle of Grape Island takes place at the Amphibious Veterans of Massachusetts Memorial Park. All of this and more coming up on Hingham Happenings. Hello, and welcome to our July episode of Hingham Happenings. I'm your host, Stacy Sergeson. Some quick local announcements. The boys lacrosse team prevailed in their battle against Longmeadow at Nickerson Field at Boston University on June 17th, winning them the MIAA D2 championship. Taking a lead early in the game, the boys maintained their drive and came out on top, 16-7. On Tuesday, June 20th, the selectmen voted to allow for dogs to go off leash on odd-numbered days at Bear Cove Park. As it was ruled at the town meeting on April 24th, a person must obtain a permit through town hall or face a fine of $50 when bringing their unleashed pet to the park. In addition, the rules state that off-leash dogs must be in sight and within 40 feet of their owner. The program starts July 15th. After a year and a half of restoration, the historic Old Derby Academy is now ready to receive visitors. The Hingham Historical Society closed the 1818 school in November 2015 for a $2.9 million top-to-bottom renovation and modernization. On Sunday, June 25th, the Society opened its doors again as a more spacious heritage museum and visitor center, with larger exhibits on the 2nd floor. We start our show off today with the 14th annual Taste of Hingham. Downtown Hingham was transformed into an outdoor food festival showcasing local restaurants among other vendors. This appealing showcase attracts thousands of visitors a year and gives them a chance to sample some local appetizers, entrees, desserts, candy, and ice cream. All proceeds from this event goes towards local nonprofit organizations. Are you ready to taste Hingham?
Well, we're having the 14th annual Taste of Hingham. Last few years we've had between 3,000 and 3,500 people come through in a 3-hour period, so it gets pretty hectic. We came together 14 years ago to try and give a little life into the town when it was torn up with the putting in of green bush. And so people seemed to like it, and we just kept going, and now it is what it is.
Hingham Congregational Church is involved with Taste of Hingham as really one of the main coordinators and organizers. Our men's group does a lot of organizing with the Taste of Hingham, and I believe that always has been the case.
We meet every Friday starting in January. The meetings are a lot less formal in January than they get as it gets closer to May. But we divide up the work. One of the fellows recruits the restaurants. I recruit the non-restaurants, and then I run the day of the event, setting up, taking down, making sure everybody's happy. So it is probably a 5.5 month process to get ready for the event. We sell advance tickets to the event, and they're $12 for an individual and $25 for a family. And that's pre-sale, and at the gate it's $30 for a family and $15 for an individual.
Really nice because a lot of the business community in Hingham is already supporting our mission, so we get to come out and share the day with them. And in fact, I was over at Jam Catering, and they have this wonderful beet slider that I've never had before, and they do a fabulous job. But there are all the great food vendors that also participate in our Food Fest event, which is every July. This year it's July 25th at the Hingham Shipyard. So we're going to be back in town with all of our vendors here pretty much, and we're very excited to be a part of that. A lot of great folks here that also come to Food Fest, Nona's and Peel Pizza and Be a Bistro right across from me, and they just all have great offerings. And you know, people probably don't realize, or maybe they do realize if they live in Hingham, that there's so many great options for restaurants, and they don't even have to go into Boston. But the Boston people won't like me saying that, but there's some great options for food on the South Shore.
I like about the Taste of Hingham is that it's not really everyone focused on one specific topic. It's kind of, people come here mostly to taste all the different foods, but a lot of people surprisingly are interested in what we have to offer, which is kind of nice because it's all different types of people.
Well, it's just a great day to be out here and to interact with the town of Hingham and the folks that are already supporters. So it's great to be out here to thank everyone for their participation in the mission and just to enjoy the vendors like everyone else. It's really fun.
I was working at our Vacation Bible School table. We were decorating water bottles with kids, and they really enjoyed that. So it was a good time to see them decorating. I like talking to the kids and talking to the parents and, you know, trying to get people to come to our event. But also I was able to try the fish tacos, which I don't remember the vendor, but they were delicious. I had a few. Some guacamole, I had a rib, I had some chowder, so it was a good time. Our guys come together, they really rally not just themselves as a group, but also our entire church, and get people to come out, advertise with signs in yards. So it's a really good time.
It's nice to be out here and see old friends and new friends, just to see families getting out and commingling, sharing in the experience. There's a huge charitable component to this day, so all the funds that come in, everybody's donating the food and the labor. So all the money that's raised goes to some pretty good causes, and it's nice to see the community out sharing an experience together. It's centrally located, there's plenty of parking nearby, and as you can see, the turnout this year may be one of the best ever.
Well, again, I think it's a gathering event. It's a place to go, particularly when you have a beautiful day like this, to feel good about your community. I've had realtors share with me that they've had clients in from out of town on this weekend. They'll bring them here, and they said it sells the town. When they say this is the kind of place we want to bring our family, when they see an event like this. So I think when you get the sun out like this and a lot of smiles on kids' faces, everybody's happy.
Now that we're fed, let's be entertained. The graduating seniors of the South Shore Conservatory recently held their senior recital. Some of these students have been with the South Shore Conservatory for 10 or more years, developing their musical talents and abilities. The graduating seniors had a bittersweet graduation recital for friends, family, and faculty. Let's take a look at their final performance at the South Shore Conservatory.
Is our graduating seniors recital, and it's really one of the most special events of our year in the education calendar. This is an opportunity for us to celebrate students who have been with South Shore Conservatory, grown with South Shore Conservatory, their social and emotional development as young people, as well as their artistry.
All of the students were preparing for this at least for the past month and a half or so, gearing up for this night. Some of them were accompanied on piano, so they attended rehearsals with myself and other faculty members, and we were bustling around getting gifts ready for them from the conservatory and getting food ready for the reception, and the usual gearing up towards the end of the school year that happens here and at public schools anyway.
Nothing happens in a vacuum, right? And so we have just an enormous team of people, and an evening like this evening wouldn't have happened without not only the private instructors, but also we have what we call here at South Shore Conservatory value-added opportunities. So these are things outside of the lessons that students can participate in in order to grow their journey as performers. So we have workshops and recitals, we have master classes, and then also, of course, rehearsals for this evening like this. And we have an incredible team, Sarah, who is our student engagement coordinator, and our workshop and recital administrators, who really work behind the scenes to support the faculty and to support the students in getting to the place where they're able to perform. And it's an emotional night for these students. And so there's that added emotional component that you need to prepare for an evening like this evening, as well as playing all the right notes in the right order.
I've been here for 11 years, so I've seen students who have grown up with me. I've actually referred a few people here, and honestly, it's really, really sad to have to say goodbye. At the Conservatory, I've met so many amazing people. Some of the people that I've met have become my best friends, including the faculty and staff, which feel like family to me. And so I would say it's really hard to say goodbye, because imagine like leaving your family to go off to college, which I am doing, but twice, because I have to leave my immediate family as well as my Conservatory family.
A lot of these people are going to college, some of them to study music, some of them to study something completely different. Many of them expressed that they're going to still participate in music, even if that's not their major. And we have students from the program tonight who are going to schools in Boston and in Massachusetts, some in Maine, some in New York, pretty much all over the place. And many of them will go on to be musicians, as they listed tonight in the program that that's their goal.
Between these 14 individuals, they've been here for 78 years, averaging 6 years a person. So that's a remarkable amount of times coming up this driveway, meeting with their teacher. It's also a remarkable amount of time to spend with one other person. And that's what's so unusual about private lessons.
So at South Shore Conservatory, I've done a lot of things outside of the voice lessons and outside of the piano lessons. So I've done Summer Vocal Institute, I've done rock band, I've done an acting summer stage camp, Saturday stage club, monthly open mic nights. I've just done so many things outside of the lesson that the Conservatory offers, and they've all helped shape me as a musician. And so not only does fostering a relationship with my teacher prove to be very helpful for me, it's also collaborating with other people, learning from other musicians, and just hearing all different kinds of music and ways to get inspired all around campus and with other students.
One of the things that's really unusual about musical and art study is that it really prepares you for life in a very complete way. It's about developing a young person socially and emotionally, and for the challenges of the 21st century, which are many. And so these students have really learned how to negotiate a committed path through their music studies in order to reach this point of graduation.
I would say one of the greatest life skills that I've taken away is working with other people and taking advice and interacting with a mentor. And so I'm always ready to get advice from my voice teacher, from my piano teacher, and so it's actually really helpful in the classroom. It's really helpful when I collaborate with other people.
What's really wonderful about it is that these students come together from these different communities, different schools, and they have this camaraderie. They see each other here at lessons, they've gone to camps together, they've been in ensembles together.
It's really wonderful to see how students come back to the South Shore and pay it forward with other students as they're developing their musical selves.
A secure future is an important thing, especially for dogs. Rockland Trust held their 4th annual Rock Fit 5K Run Walk. Runners had a chance to run around the beautiful Wampatuck State Park and enjoy the scenery while contributing to an important mission. All proceeds from this event went to the Hingham Police K-9 Department. By helping them fund costly equipment such as vests to protect the dogs in dangerous situations, attendees were both enthusiastic and not afraid to bite the bullet for a good cause.
The Rockland Trust Rock Fit 5K. This is our 4th year. We have partnered with Massachusetts Vesta Dog and Rockland Trust to have an event to sponsor the Hingham Canine.
Today we're working with the Rockland Trust, Mass Vesta Dog, and we've partnered with them to do a fundraiser. It's a 5K run walk, family fit. They call it Rock Fit for Rockland Trust. And we're hoping that the weather holds off so we can get our race in, and we have lots of family vehicles. We have many police vehicles and fire vehicles for the kids to see, like a Petra truck. We have face painting and other events going on for the kids, so we're really looking forward to a happy, good day.
About 6 or 7 months went into the planning, and that's monthly meetings, weekly meetings, coordinating with different vendors. We use a lot of our benefits vendors to do raffles, also coordinating with our local communities.
We've been working on this with Rockland Trust and Mass Vesta Dog probably for about 6 months now. Basically, Rockland Trust has picked up the majority of the event. This is their 4th event where they do the Rock Fit 5K. And Mass Vesta Dog got involved with them, and this money and the proceeds from this race will be going towards helping the Hingham Police Department set up the new police canine cruisers that we're in the process of getting.
The canines are great. They do a bunch of different things. We currently have 2 dogs. One is used for drug recognition. There's a huge opiate epidemic going on around here, and the canine Pablo has already been involved in some busts. And the patrol dog is used for 2 things. One, as everybody kind of knows, chasing down the bad guys. But they're also used to find people that wander away, Alzheimer's patients, special needs kids. And we're really lucky to have the 2 dogs. They get used not only in our town, but through the mutual aid agreement with local towns. And it's just a huge benefit to all the citizens around the area.
Yeah, so the main runners are going to be on Wampatuck State Park's 5K course. And that's a 3.1-mile loop around the park, so it's a paved pathway, so no trail running today. The paved pathway itself has plenty of hills and turns, but it's mostly within the wooded area of the state park.
The actual run, it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. There was a lot more hills, but it didn't rain. So that was probably one of the best parts because it was downpouring this morning.
A lot of people don't realize how important it is for the canines to have these essential equipment. And I think a lot of people don't realize that the actual police department, it's not part of their budget, it's all self-funded. So they either, like I know Hingham Canine just started their own foundation, which is huge. The foundation would raise money for Hingham Canine, and then Mass Vesta Dog would supplement any other items that they can't raise on their own, and they can go to Mass Vesta Dog to get those items. So it's so important that people know that to protect those dogs and to raise money for those dogs, you have to go to an organization like Mass Vesta Dog, and that's why we do this, to help support all of the canines of Massachusetts.
Just like all our officers are required to wear vests. It's a safety issue. It's no different from the canines. They're going into the same dangerous, and sometimes we actually ask the canines to go in sometimes a more dangerous situation because it's safer for the canine to go in. So we want to protect them, and buying vests for the dogs is very important. They're more expensive than what a person's is. They can be up to $3,000 for a vest for a dog. So we want to have them that protection. We don't want to have any chances of them getting hurt. So this adds to that.
So an event like this is really beneficial to Hingham because, for one, we're benefiting the Hingham Police Department directly. Canines give up their lives for the police officers. That's what they're trained to do, and it's really important that they get all of the funding that they need so that they can get the best in protection and training to do their jobs well. And in addition to that, Rockland Trust in general is just getting out there in the community and showing people that it's really great to give back and to strengthen our communities. It's one of our missions.
I was really excited for this event. It was really fun to get to come with your coworkers and get to share some good food and a good time with everybody.
So with all of the years, the last 6 years of raising money for Mass Vesta Dog, I was just recently asked to be on the board for Mass Vesta Dog, which I'm so excited and honored. I'm now one of the directors of Mass Vesta Dog, and it's so important to me and my daughter to continue fundraising for this organization, and now we're going to be really involved because we're part of the organization.
And even though it's been a really long and tedious process, I just think that it's such a great thing. It gives me a lot of joy to be able to give back, and I think that it really represents everything that Rockland Trust is about, giving back to our communities and making them, stronger.
Aw, such cute dogs and such a beautiful place to host an event. Speaking of Wampatuck State Park, the Friends of Wampatuck recently hosted their first annual Discovery Day. Discovery Day enables visitors to discover the utility and beauty of Wampatuck State Park by learning about the many events that take place there, in addition to recreational activities that are offered daily. Let's discover Wampatuck State Park together.
Today is Discovery Day. This is our first ever event where we have invited all of the different groups that the Friends of Wampatuck State Park sponsors, either with funding or with volunteer help, along with Department of Conservation and Recreation. Open to the public, come and meet us all, and come discover the treasure in your backyard.
So today is meant to be a party where we're helping other people discover the park.
We've made a bunch of self-guided tours so that people can maybe learn about things. They don't have to stay on the same trail they've always done. We've gone out and we've marked some courses for them to walk to, highlighted some of the unique features in the park to get people out on areas that they haven't normally been. The Friends of Wampatuck is a nonprofit organization that exists to help DCR, the state, preserve, protect, and maintain the park. And we partner with them by raising money for the park, but also serving as hands on the ground and doing a lot of the maintenance for the teams here. This idea was born probably around December, where we hold events in this park, Snowpatuck in February, Landmine in September, and we wanted to have an event to help other park users learn about the park. So this event's been in the planning stage since December. We have a fantastic map that the Friends of Wampatuck has produced. Not only do we have a smartphone app for it that you can put the map right on your phone and use as an interactive map as you hike, but we have printed maps as well. And our trails are all marked so that you can locate yourself and get yourself in, around, and out of the park as well.
Well, Wampatuck State Park has a little of everything. You can hike here, you can walk here, you can ride your bike on paved paths, you can ride your mountain bike on trails. If you have a horse, we as Friends of Wampatuck have built bridges that are equestrian-friendly bridges. If you have a sled dog, you can hook up your sled dog and take your sled dogs out.
Well, we're just here for the event. We do a lot of shows and a lot of talks in schools and so forth on dog sled racing and dogs, Siberians in general. And Siberian Huskies are a cold weather dog. They have a double coat. The outer coat, as you see, the black coat, or the gray coat, or the white coat, whatever, they come in different colors. And then underneath that is a very, very heavy, like cotton wool layer. And they're very, very strong, and they've been used for sled dogging for many, many, many years. It's in their genes. When you run a puppy the first time, you don't have to teach him. He knows already what to do.
So what's happening here today is we're showcasing this company that has been around for about 4 years now, that consists of us bringing a pen of goats to your home for residential and commercial use of invasive plant species removal. We actually do encourage people interacting with the goats. Some customers will ask if they can take them out of the pen and walk them like dogs, and they are just very lovable animals.
Blame the Dog. So this is the locally famous rock band from the South Shore, and our beloved past park supervisor, Steve Gammon, who was the great steward and champion of this park for 40 years, is actually one of the lead singers in the band.
Well, an event like this is good because if the people show up, so far it's not a big crowd, they find out what's going on in the park, and they may say, oh, bike racing, I'd like to do that. Or whatever the events, they may say, dog sledding, gee, we might like to do that. It's a chance for the people, if they came, to learn other things that go on in the park that they never knew going on in the park that they might want to get involved in.
So this is special to all of the communities. Wampatuck State Park actually borders on Hingham, in Cohasset, in Scituate, in Norwell. So we are in the unique center of the South Shore, and this is a benefit to everybody because it's a safe place to have your kids ride bikes on the trails without having to deal with the cars. It's a great place to go hiking, wonderful place to go bird watching, and to just really take advantage of being outdoors. Wampatuck State Park is really my happy place. I'd love to have everybody come down and just discover the treasure in your backyard.
Wow, can you believe a place like that is right here in Hingham? Another place of interest in Hingham lies right off our shores. Let's open our history books and discover the story behind the second great battle of the Revolutionary War, which took place on our own Grape Island. The town of Hingham recently held its first Battle of Grape Island Day at the Hingham Shipyard. Visitors were treated to some historical anecdotes told from town officials, as well as a reenactment of the skirmish between the Hingham Militia Company and the British troops. Ready, soldier? Let's send them lobster backs back where they came from.
Today is a first annual Battle of Grape Island Day to commemorate the Battle of Grape Island on May 21st, 1775.
We had a reenactment by the militia. We had the militia itself being involved in the colors and those traditional elements. And we had a lot of citizens here listening and beginning to learn more about Grape Island battle than they ever knew before.
And when I read a book by Walter Bornemann entitled American Spring that gave more significance to the Battle of Grape Island, sometimes known as the Grape Island Alarm, I brought it to the committee's attention. And the chairman, Bill Reardon, suggested that they would support me, but I had to run with it, as he said, myself.
I knew we had about 10 minutes to make a whole battle happen in a confined area. So I proceeded with that in mind. And it took a little bit of rehearsal and training of the troops. We're in close ranks, shoulder to shoulder, and we just march and we fire.
Our militia, the Hingham militia, scrambled and went and chased the British off the island. They were there trying to get provisions for themselves and for their horses, and they were invited on the island by Elijah Levitt, who was a loyalist, and that didn't sit too well with the rest of the community of patriots.
For a long while, they stood along these very shores. There, at the sounding of the alarm, over 2,000 armed men showed up and lined up along these shores. And even though the British were out of range, they fired anyway, just to let them know that there's some hostility towards them. And they did not want them coming down here to reap their provisions.
The Battle of Grape Island was the very first of the provision wars. And that's when the Hingham militia would make sure that the British didn't get to those islands and get the stores that they wanted.
None of us lived in Hingham at that time, but no matter when we came here or whether we were born here, we've all chosen to be here because we think it's a really special place. And this is just another indication of the reason why it's so special.
You can simply look around and see, people from all walks of life and ages joined us today. We had, the militia here, the veterans, keeps the history of the town alive, keeps people aware of it. And we live in a very historic town, as you may know, but it's more than just old houses. Things happen here. Things happen here that matter. If Thomas Gage was able to break the siege that was laid upon the city of Boston, history might record something very different than what it did.
First of all, it was just very nice of DCR to allow us to use the space, and they provided us with the chairs and the other equipment. And it is conveniently right directly across from Grape Island. So for our first event, I think it was very nice to be able to use this space, and it provided a nice venue for the Hingham militia to reenact their side of the battle.
As you can see from the people of all ages here, it draws families together. It allows them to come out and begin to appreciate an element of the community that they may not have been aware of. And so we live in a time of great division in our society, and to have functions like this, which can be unifying within our community, is extremely helpful.
A lot of history took place here. And history, believe it or not, in this area doesn't really have a beginning and an end. It's ongoing. And it's important that people learn about what other people did to preserve their ability to live here peacefully, and what it took to accomplish all that. And it was a lot. And the more you understand about it, the more you can agree that liberty or death is quite a statement.
I was curious as to what happened on May 21st, 1775, and now I know. History is so fun, right? Well, that's all for this month. Tune in next time for another exciting episode of Hingham Happenings. If you have any future suggestions for an episode, please email us at hinghamhappenings@hinghammedia.org. Thanks so much for watching.